So, as always, we will simply start off with a recap of what you guys did last session, where we will start with Reese this time.
Thank you. Well, my recollection is that we had a bit of a discussion with our new members, new ship members, the two people we rescued from the lifeboat, which was, if I don't remember, let's see what the name was. Captain Solomon Hill was the unconscious one, and Mancha Mato was the lieutenant who actually made the deals in exchange for becoming a full-fledged member of the crew. She gave us a location for a battleship that we could harvest for metals. Said battleship was a leftover from an ancient war of some kind, with lots of goodies to scrounge. So very interesting. Some of us were a little bit more or less welcoming on this point. I mean, what did she actually bring to this party? I don't know yet. Cautious. Others were more welcoming. It's like, yeah, welcome in, open arms. It's like, okay, we don't know anything about these people. So Reese is skeptical and suspicious. They'll have to prove themselves. At least Mancha Mato, since the first thing we saw of her, that person was a hand grenade. Very suicidal. Nope, no, not trustworthy. The ball goes over to Sistak.
Yeah, you and I, Reese and I were out doing a lot of spacewalk last game, getting a lot of materials to help speed up the I don't know if it's recalibration, but getting our percentages up for life support and stuff like that. I think you said 6 to 8 hours we were spacewalking, if I recall. Then after we came back in, we also got a mine layer that we're going to be adding to our ship. So we can, if we start being chased, we can drop mines behind. I believe they're plasma mines. And then we discussed about she wanted the I think it was a pre-gap dreadnought, if I recall, that she gave us the location of the stern section, I believe.
The Amalgard.
Amalgard, correct. And then we headed. We discussed with crew about our two. We got 4. I think we got 4 or 5 people that are NPCs on our ship right now. The 2 we saved from the slavers, the half elf that started us all this mission. I think it was a half elf, and the 2 we just picked up the life pod, which is one still. Is he still in a coma, or is he being brought out of coma? I don't know. I don't recall. And Sistad was just laying his head on the pillow when Susanna said, unknown ship. And it's like, here we go again. So at that time, I'm feeding to my station onto the bridge. I'll pass it over to Betty.
It's Astrid.
I couldn't remember the name.
We had less magnificent flying than I was hoping for last time, but we did find a fighter, and that was extremely interesting. Kimu and Astrid had a nice little chat on the bridge while she was doing her best to look casual with her legs up on the console and stuff like that. We got a few new crew members. One of them we still haven't met because he's in a coma. And the general call went out when we were admiring our new fighter, Kimu.
Thank you. Well, we started being under attack again. 3 corvettes were closing on Elbing that had been attacking the frigate. We recovered Captain Hill and Lieutenant Marto from. So Stag, his usual efficient self, got the point defense guns ready and launched a missile to the lead corvette, which surprised us all by going off with approximately a very big boom, about 10 megatons. It turned out to be a nuclear missile. It actually destroyed all the ships following us, disrupted the minefield close by, and actually destroyed a few vessels we hadn't noticed yet. That saturated the area with resources that we could harvest. So, as Stag already mentioned, he went out with Reese to harvest them. And we decided to concentrate those resources on life support because obviously it keeps us alive. The longer it runs, the more time we have to collect resources to repair the rest of the systems. Astrid already mentioned us having a chat on the bridge. Everybody else has already mentioned the offer that the lieutenant made. And we've mentioned the fighter. Poor Stag was just about to go to sleep when Susanna told us that an unknown ship had been detected. And I'll pass it to Arndt. You can tell us about the things we've missed.
Yes, greetings. Arndt here. Batteries operating at optimal 69% capacity. Yes, it was quite an eventful session with a lot of good conversation, a little bit of exhibition of each other's characters and getting to know one another, and especially some of our new guests, shall we say. Lieutenant Mancha Hellcat Moto, who insists on being referred to by her entire name. Although she has, I believe, given Arn permission to refer to her as a great, you get the idea, granddaughter. Anyway, be that as it may, one important detail has not yet been mentioned, and that was that sauerbraten was served for dinner. Anyway, with that out of the way, indeed, we are yet again at red alert. Or is it brown alert? I always get those mixed up.
We have to change the bulb for brown alert.
Right, that was everybody, I believe.
Indeed.
I'm being a bit distracted by a tiny dog that needs a lot of love and attention. So I'll try to talk as I'm getting my face licked. Yes. Oh, there we go. She chooses the best times as well.
Aw.
That is the function of a pet, to choose exactly when to disturb and not.
Yeah, and this old girl, when she needs love, she needs love. That's just how it is. It's obviously nose licking time. It's 9 p.m., so time to lick the nose and give some hugs. Lay down in the lap. But yes, the alert has been going, and unknown ship detected. Unknown ships detected.
I'm sprinting as fast as I can up to the bridge.
I'm following not far behind her.
I think it's safe to say we're all going 2 stations.
Indeed.
Mm.
So, with the support that Susanna can give right now, it means that Sistag, as weapons officer, can fire the turret and the port weapons on one side. He can control without anybody else doing anything. But if you want to fire the port weapons on the other side, you're going to have a secondary gunner.
Reese, are you on that?
Excuse me, what were you saying there, Stag?
So what can I control on my side?
You can control you can control 3 weapons basically. So say the turret, the vortex cannon, and the torpedoes on the port side, just as an example, or a turret and the coil guns and the torpedoes on the starboard side.
Okay. What about the missile launches?
Well, yeah, the missile launcher is the turreted one
Okay.
that you
Okay.
have.
I didn't know it was a turret. Sorry.
So, but basically, you can control 3 weapons, but anything over that needs to be slaved to somebody else's console that has the time to do targeting data, because Susanna is not entirely her her programming's not entirely ready to do everything yet.
If you need to assign additional cycles from myself to assist you with targeting, I'm sure I could do a pretty good job of slicing and dicing.
You have your pick of the men, Sistag. Also, activate your magnetic boots, everyone, for God's sake. Betty's down at her console.
Don't think there's any boots big enough for me.
Of course, with Chago being a dingus, I had the battle map for this for space combat up, and it now seems to have disappeared.
Well, I'm also
That's
strapped into my chair, though.
I believe
So-
that means we were victorious since the map vanished.
Indeed. What you can see on the sensors is a fairly large, bulky ship. It would be considered a large-size hull, where the Elbing is a small medium. In addition to 2 light hulls, 2 small hulls. So there are 3 ships there. Give me a. Well, actually, no. You don't need to roll anything. They are moving very, very slowly. And give me a sensor roll, Reese. Running the senses.
Okay. Let me see now. That would be computers.
Computers, yes. From your sensors, you can see that every 30 seconds or so, there's a small blip, a power spike, as something powers on in the wake of the largest ship before disappearing from sensors. However, having seen this power profile before, this exact power profile before, you are 75% confident that those are the sort of stealth seeker mites you've been having some issues with.
Is that tracking the other ship, or is it actually being dropped by it?
Well, you don't see any explosions or any mines activating.
So, it's probably the mine layer.
I inform the rest of the crew. That ship, dropping mines.
Thank you, Reese.
I also note the course it has taken and will log the course it will take and calculate based on that what trajectories we have for mines with speed.
Thank you.
Any visible markings on them, on those ships, Reese?
Not that I can see right now. I'll try and focus. Can I enhance sensors?
Right. As you try to enhance, you hear Susanna go, enhanced sensors currently not available. Would you like to divest resources to build enhanced sensors?
Not at this moment, thank you.
At the moment, you're at long range. At the extreme point of long range, in fact. You've been, it doesn't seem that like they've spotted you from any of their ship movements.
Should we try and hide people?
Were we actually coasting? We were not under drift. We were not under power.
You were under power, but you've been running at a cool measured 40% engine power.
Well, odds are 3 versus 1, so hiding sounds like a good idea.
AndEsterbeth notices, and well, all of you at consoles notice that your a new icon indicating stealth systems is yellow at the moment.
Well then. I'm gonna take us out of the belt and into stealth.
Right. Having a look at it, it seems like you are doing the Elbing's version of running silent at the moment, moving at 40% engine speed and with systems low powered and a lot of power going to your newly acquired stealth, or not acquired, but newly online stealth generators.
Can anybody give me a reading on what we should look like in space now?
Would you like me to hold Reese out of the window?
Thank you, Arnd.
Even if that sounds
necessary.
really fun, let's not.
I think we can bypass that one, and
Right. Reese is still working the computers. You did roll fairly well. You're coming in from the southwest of them, so that would be port side and behind.
Can I bounce a directional sensor scan off one of the asteroids nearby that will not alert the enemies, but kind of bounce back at us and tell me what we look like?
It would be difficult to do to go with active sensors and not
Okay, let's not.
send a ping, so to speak. But looking at their from what what readings you can get, you can see that there are the 2 smaller ships have light torpedo launchers on the port side. And the larger ship, you can't see any weapon on the port side, but you can see that it's got a coil gun turreted. Give me a moment here.
And we're at long range, correct?
Yep.
We're at very long range.
Yeah.
We should be invisible to them if this works.
And my weapons can lock on anyhow. We only carry medium and short range.
Exactly, but keep them ready in case we have to go hot.
Oh, my finger's ready.
But gotta point out, I forgot to write that on the Elbing because I haven't been able to add that to your character sheet yet. But the light plasma torpedo launchers that you have are actually long range. I found that out earlier today. Started trying to set up the ship.
Oh, I didn't know we had plasma launchers on our ship.
Plasma torpedoes, to be more correct.
Oh, we have torpedoes. Okay.
Yes, you've had torpedoes
range.
actually since you picked up the Elbing, and I've just completely forgotten to mention them, except the first time when you guys went, "Oh, we have torpedoes in space," and then we all forgot about it for 2 sessions.
Now, you think a weapons officer should know I have torpedoes.
Indeed.
You do know.
So, I won't track them because then I'll probably give them a signal that they're being tracked. But it will be at the ready if we need to launch.
I am watching for movement that indicates they've seen us.
Right. As you're watching, Lieutenant Mato walks onto the bridge and stands next to Arndt.
Granddaughter?
Progenitor. These, from the scanner reading, seem like pirate scum.
I see. What would you advise? Do you think that they're any match for us? Our captain and, acting captain and weapons officer seem to be ready, but apparently we've done something that in ancient terms was referred to, I believe, as stealthing up.
Without knowing the capabilities of this craft of yours, well, I would say we are outmatched. Roughly 2 to 1 in tonnage. But, excuse me, tiny rat man.
He hates when you call him that. I tried.
My apologies. Here, have a cup of coffee. She hands coffee to Reese.
Yes. Humans appreciate coffee, but thank you nonetheless. What did you wish to...
Do you have a read on what kind of weaponry they're carrying?
So far, light torpedoes and 1 coil gun. Light torpedoes on the smaller vessels and the coil gun on the larger one.
And they are laying mines too.
As described on this projection.
Is it usual for, what was the phrase again? Pirate scum to lay mines? It seems like a awfully structured endeavor, and, well, perhaps I guess if they're picking on ships that unwittingly disable themselves, it could be a cunning ploy.
In my experience, it's not too common with pirates using mine layers. Mine layers generally aren't very heavily armed or armored, nor very fast. And comparatively, the tonnage of a mine layer will have much less weaponry than a warship, or even a jury-rigged pirate ship of the same size. In addition, most pirates won't drop mines simply because it's better for them to come in with fast, heavily armed ships where they can board and either take over the ship or take the cargo and then leave. Pirates they may be, but if you kill a merchant ship, you can't rob it later.
Yes.
Nor can you ransom it.
Nor can you ransom it or build it, repurpose it to be a pirate ship. Why they would be laying mines is beyond my capacity to guess at the moment.
Deny, isolate, and kill intruders is usually mine's purpose.
Or to protect something, perhaps.
Same.
Hey.
Oh, one moment. I nearly forgot. At that point, the musical systems start relaying sea shanties. Since we're up against pirates...
Didn't we hit a minefield when we first came into the system with our other ship?
Yes, we did.
And was it the slavers that laid that mine? Those minefield?
Unknown connection.
We
Could be.
thought so at the time, but possibly not.
I put on a helmet to block out the sound.
Kimi
Shogi.
concentrates briefly and feeds the PA system back into Arndt.
Yes, Reese.
Can I determine anything more about the craft themselves? typically used in certain cultures, species. Any details on construction or type?
Let us have a look at what your relevant skills are here. What would you want to roll for that, you feel?
That's a good question. Something about culture, I would guess.
I would want an engineering roll from you for that.
Okay, yep.
You are 60% certain that the large ship is a repurposed freighter of some sort. You're not entirely certain about what is class of freighter, but from the look of it, it should be a fairly slow craft.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, you're less certain about because you can't really get any life signs from any of them.
Yep. I forward my conclusions.
Are we too far away to detect life signs, or could they be drone ships?
Possible.
Do I know something about this from my colorful background? Heard any rumors about pirates acting like this and stuff like that?
No, this sort of piracy would be frowned upon by the pirate captains in the inner systems, or even in the outer systems. You're in the fringe system as at the moment, so this is space incognita for most of you. But the sort of body count that laying mines racks up tends to provoke coordinated responses from the different system navies. Not really something pirates would want.
These are no ordinary pirates, at least. They wouldn't have done this. It would draw way too much attention.
Maybe they're not pirates. Could they be a military navy of another, maybe unknown?
I do have culture as a skill, so...
Give us a roll, sir.
Could I in any way assist?
You could roll culture to give him a +2 on his roll.
Yeah, I have a lot of
rolled.
cultural data stored up, and maybe just random stuff, but maybe helps.
I run the images I captured from the scans over to Arnd.
Honestly, most system navies, even smaller system navies, would not. These ships would not qualify to be part of anything except maybe an emergency militia. They're not heavy. They're not warships. Their engines are too weak. They don't have any shielding, and even though they have some military-grade weapons in the form of torpedo launchers and that coil guns you can find on merchant ships, so that's torpedo launchers are more rare, but still, it doesn't make sense that any navy would outfit ships the way these have been. So Stag, please.
Asterbeth, what do we know of the culture and aspects of the slave traders, the drow slave traders, or slavers? Do we have any?
Well,
Reese, what's the tracking of where that minefield is being laid? Is it being a set pattern, or is it being like to protect something?
Shogi?
Ooh, that's a tough call on what to roll for that. I can't fall back on the old Pathfinder classic of Profession Soldier, but most of you are, or some of you have military background, so that would be Kimu, Astribeth, and Sistag. And
Culture, maybe?
I would actually like a piloting roll from each of you to try to guess what sort of usefulness that thing would have. Wow. Yeah, you all come to the same conclusion, but Astribeth comes to it faster. This seems to be a blocking minefield for something. Now that Reese knows to look for it, there's something at the extreme range of your sensors, powered down, but extremely dense. And these people are probably trying to block your access to it.
They are protecting something valuable.
Something maybe we should have a look at? How close do we get?
You said at extreme range?
What you're looking at is at the extreme range of your sensors, yes. It would be probably 8 hours of spaceflight at 40% thrust to take you there. But your sensors do go. Excuse me.
If you maintain stealth too, correct?
That's correct. If at well, you can't really go full burn. Your engine can only go at about 60% now, but that would still cut it from 12 to 8 hours.
Well, gentlemen, what do you say?
Curious. Look.
How long would it take you as a fighter to go out and investigate? Small craft? Are you familiar with that fighter type?
I have never seen that fighter type in my life, but I've also never found a fighter I cannot fly.
We also haven't checked to see if it works yet.
We also haven't checked the other hold either.
What if some of you guys who have some engineering background go down and check the fighter, and I'll start us on a course?
Good
Indeed.
idea.
Let's investigate the other hold as well.
I'm laying a course steady and slow.
Ah. Yes.
I'm also going to set.
Yes.
I'm also going to set the close-in weapon systems for mines and small crafts.
Very well, sir.
I don't know if the mines will work on a stealth ship, but they probably will.
Reese, shall we? And are you
Absolutely.
coming or staying?
I'm happy to accompany where I can be of most use. I hadn't been assigned any specific tasks, so my current calculations were telling me to go and feed the cat.
Why don't you feed your curiosity instead?
I do have a good engineering, but I think I'm better suited out here on the sensors on the weapon systems in case things go red.
I agree.
Go hot. Correction.
I'll stay at the helm.
Worst case, you
now.
can just blow them all to smithereens again like you did last time.
That is an option. But that's a medium range.
True enough. Perhaps you could aim a little bit more carefully next time so that at least there are some bits left over for me to dissect and then analyze.
I'll get to you in
If that's
range if we need to.
if that's a mine layer, Arnd, any type of explosion in or near it is probably not going to be good for the mine layer. It's gonna literally disintegrate.
All right, I guess I'll be working with straws again this time.
Anything so long as we get some salvage from it.
Right. Moving down, having a look, you see that there is a what was the class of those? Was it a Messer class? Long Messer class fighter? I seem to remember.
Sounds correct.
Sadly, I've managed to misplace my notes again. Keeps happening to me. I need to start going digital with notes. But yeah, they are sleek, short range.
Mark 1 Feather.
Feather, thank you. Feather class fighters. They are sleek, short-range fighters, so they wouldn't have the range for an 8-hour trip, unless, well, there are ways of doing it, but that would take some advanced and very risky piloting.
It's Astrobeth. She's risky at all.
They're two-person craft, one pilot and one gunner. And to your great surprise, they are actually armed. Aft, they have a flak thrower, and in the forward arc, they have a light plasma cannon and a tactical nuclear missile launcher.
Tactical nuclear missile launcher.
Indeed.
How small are these craft?
Think about twice the size of an F-35. So they're not huge, but they're still fairly big.
You said it's a two-seater, a pilot and a gunner. Would
Correct.
it be too big for somebody like me to be in the gunner?
No, absolutely
Right.
not. It would be uncomfortable. These craft don't seem to have been. They're not typical inner system craft where it's all modular and can easily be resized to fit anybody. But on the upside, from what you saw, the ones that would have been piloting these would have been in some very large, bulky suits compared to what you guys are wearing. So you can fit a vest in there. It's going to be tight. But
I was just thinking, but on the other hand, if Astrobeth takes the fighter, I'm probably the assistant pilot, so I would have to end up piloting the Eberron.
you could get Reese in one of these things as well, but you would have to find a large book for him to sit on.
Minor issue.
It's a toss-up between Sistag and Kimu, I think.
That, or he could stand, but that would be somewhat risky in a... well, they don't have the strongest engines, but then again, they are also very small craft.
Extra power source.
Maybe it'd go
Conceding.
undetected.
Yeah. Looking at it, you guess that these two fighters have engines roughly as powerful as the two smaller ships that are about 5 times their size out next to the mine layer.
So they should be pretty fast.
Yes, Sistag.
Did you say 2 fighters?
Correct. There is one on either side of the Elbing, it turns out.
Okay.
You do notice one thing that could potentially be an issue. These things actually have launch cradles and automated systems to pick them up and pull them back into their launch base. Seems like they've saved as much space as possible, so should shit hit the fan, you would have to spend some time at very slow speeds to be able to get them back into the ship before, as the old destroyer captains of the naval forces on Terra said, laying smoke and pissing off.
It's like taking on a small boat alongside with your davits. You would have to go really slow to hook up and get it up on deck.
You would know. But they're definitely some mean little brawlers. Not quite as advanced as the Elbing, but probably the best that they had at that time. You've seen modern fighters, less technologically advanced than these.
Kimu's going to take one and do a walk around. There's an odd gleam in his eye as he strokes his fingers over the fighter, and then he just goes pro again and starts checking the systems out.
That's the best. Now, this system is set to you now at this time as a pilot.
I've been the only pilot of the Elbing for now, but if you are
How
gonna
hard
be
would it- How hard would it for me to be able to? If you take the fighter, I would assume I would probably be the next pilot. Though we still have 2 people on board that we don't know what their capabilities are too. But
I
they're
would
just
rather leave
passengers
her
right
in
now.
your hands.
Okay.
But come up here and I'll show you. She's fairly simple to fly.
Very well. We'll head over.
I'll use some time and explain the knacks and ways of handling the Elbing. She's pretty straightforward. And once I'm sure you have control over her, I will go down and take a look at the fighter.
All right.
It's a thing of beauty, indeed. No doubt about that.
How does it feel to me as a pilot on this? I do have piloting background with this.
It's a smaller, more nimble ship than the drop ships that you got your piloting training on in the West Navy. But with the help of Susanna, the AI to compensate and help plot things with the AI stuff, the AI brain, I should say, it's not uncomfortable to deal with. You feel fairly certain that you can get some, you can do some things here. Absolutely.
I'm also checking. Can the weapon systems be fired from the pilot seat?
Yes. However, if you try to fly and fire weapons at the same time, Susanna will only be able to help you fire 2 weapon systems. So it would take, you would need some help to be able to get all of the guns operational.
But in case of emergency, where I need to fire something just to dissuade them from getting any closer.
Indeed, that should absolutely do something for you. You're fairly certain that you can fire at least 2 weapons fairly accurately.
Would there be
Then
such
I'll,
things? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Then I'll go ahead and I'll start piloting her in the course that Astabeth has set.
Right. What were you about to say, Ond?
Would it would there be such a thing, either digitally or in physical form, as a instruction manual for these fighter craft?
You do find one.
Hmm.
But it is in ancient German, so it's gonna take you some time to translate.
Okay. So Arndt begins processing that information, and in parallel spends a bit of time trying to find Babu.
Babu at the moment is sleeping in the infirmary on top of the unconscious captain, stretched out between his legs on top of the blanket and snoring slightly.
Right, okay.
You're fairly certain that Babu has something like a 13.5 increase in mass since you let him out and started feeding him.
Good. I think that Arnda's been analyzing all of this, recording all of the data meticulously, studying the creature very carefully. Would it be how is the creature, do you think, responding to Arn's sort of favoritism of it and trying to feed it things it enjoys and study it and just try to be amenable towards the creature?
Babu has gone from initial skepticism of On to treating him as a favorite, and even at sometimes showing off his stomach for scratches. On has started to work on an algorithm to give him a warning when Babu decides he's had enough stomach scratches and wants to fight instead.
Very good. I think that this warning, there's an audible alarm that sounds randomly every once in a while when this happens. The rest of the crew are completely unaware of it, but it's always piped over the audio system, and it just sounds like it's a trap. Indeed.
The creature is erratic, so the success rate of getting away from it without getting superficial scratches is only 40% at the moment.
Understood. Okay. And I think that there is, amongst the data, if one looked particularly closely, one would find that there is a comparison chart between the erratic nature of this creature, Babu, and the erratic behavior of Reese. Just like a running comparison.
Indeed.
As Arn spends time beginning to study and translate this manual, as sort of, slow and complex as this may be, he attempts to use his mind link capability, with which, and I quote, "you can form a mental link with a creature you touch, communicating information rapidly through it. You can use this mind link at will as a spell-like ability, though only once per day." So I basically read off the first half of the manual or whatever I can translate, and I try to impart this information via this mind link to Babu as my trusted second medical officer, irrespective of whether it functions or not.
Right. Babu seems surprisingly indifferent to it all.
All right. Arndt registers this as a success because there was no immediate negative reaction or scratches. He then returns to the hangar area and seeing everybody. He doesn't say anything immediately, but just observes everybody sort of getting familiar with the fighters and whatnot.
Right. He comes down in time to see Reese and Kimu switch fighter craft and double checking wiring and all sorts of things while Esterbeth is getting comfortable in one of the pilot seats.
I'll go through a standard pre-flight.
Yeah, to your great enjoyment, that has already been done by Kimu and Reese.
I'm doing it again.
As expected.
I tried to get the attention of Mancha Mato. I assume she's there with us.
Yes. She walks over to Auden. Medical officer, what can I do, sir?
Third medical officer. Well, since we're in the vicinity of fighter craft, I assume I can refer to you by your call sign, Hellcat. Make things simpler. Do you have sort of familiarity, experience, expertise with such craft? Are you capable in this regard? Not that I'm willing to immediately risk one of our, our third most important medical officer.
Why, yes, Progenitor, I do have some experience with fighter operations.
Very good. Then I will speak with the captain and inform the captain of such information. I think we're looking at trying to ensure the crew are optimally assigned to each of these particular roles. It's nothing for me. These devices do not look to be anywhere near precise enough for what I would prefer to be utilizing. But duly noted. I walk
Very
over
well,
and I walk over and I guess I stand in. I imagine there's like flight steps up to the cockpit or some sort of arrangement like this, and I stand in a just ever so slightly, probably too near, slightly not. I guess some might construe it as menacing, sort of stance, looking down at Estrabeth as she's sort of studying and doing her pre-fight checks.
Absolutely.
And there's like a sort of moment where he sort of his eyes blank a little bit and he's sort of processing something, and then he goes,
Is there anything bothering you?
cough. Sorry to disturb you. I didn't mean to interrupt. I have some information which may be valuable for you if you're considering missions with these small and, frankly, inaccurate-looking vehicles. I realize that we may not have enough personnel necessarily in our core crew to man all of the various positions, so I wanted to inform you I've taken the proactive step of beginning to train the number 2 and number 3 medical officers, Babu and Hellcat, respectively, in the ways of these vehicles, and so they may perform the role should you need more dispensable staff. Lieutenant Moto has apparently some experience and knowledge of these vehicles already, and I've taken the liberty of reading the flight manuals and downloading the information through a mind link to Babu.
I think we're gonna have to test the Babu a bit more, but if the lieutenant wants to fly, I see no reason she shouldn't.
A wise decision, Captain. Yes, why risk the second most valuable medical officer on the ship when we have the... Yes, I agree. Okay, understood.
Astrid is trying not to laugh at the thought of the cat piloting something, but she's gonna try to stay professional.
Oh, by the way, I snagged you one of these on the way through. A compartment opens, like in his midriff. He reaches in and pulls out a little espresso cup.
Thank you so much. You're gonna have to take the cup, though. I empty it quickly and hand you back the empty mug.
I take the cup, look down at the hole in my abdominal area. It closes up, and I just throw the cup over my shoulder. Walk off down the stairs.
That wasn't me, in case anyone wondered.
We didn't. Next time, Mond, try one of these. And he holds up a sealed travel cup. There are holders in the cockpit for it.
It has cup holders!
One in each, pilots and gunners.
Right. What exactly are you guys planning is what I'm wondering.
Get closer to the dense object, trying to get a better read on that, try and avoid the enemies that are trying to stop us. The space is a big place, so I mean, we can probably maneuver around them with a little bit of time. I guess that's it.
Let Astrid take out the fighter when she's ready and do a test flight, maybe try and gather some recon information.
Astrid is, of course, very happy with that idea.
I'm gonna need a computers roll from Reese and a pilot roll from Stag.
I rolled a natural 20.
Right, yeah, so Stag is easily keeping the ship stealthed. Reese is getting anomalous readings from the piece of debris that these people seem to be screening with mines. Seems to be some extremely dense materials there, as well as traces of incredibly powerful power cores.
I spent some time with Susanna trying to fine-tune sensors and try again later time.
Very well. You can try again after an hour, but with a -2 to your roll.
Absolutely.
Do I have to keep on rolling piloting?
No, unless you plan on changing anything. You've pretty much found the optimal settings for you to just keep coasting.
And keep an eye out for if we stray into the minefield. Though the closing weapon system should take care of it, but it also will probably notify them that someone's going through the minefield.
Indeed.
We should definitely try not to fire anything. That would be basically we're here. Blink, blink, we're here.
But Asterbeth, if they are seeker mines, no matter what, they're going to find us. I don't know if it works with the stealth technology, but I don't want to shut this closing weapon systems and find out they are tracking us and it's too late.
Hey, Kimu, you want to be my gunner on the test flight?
Yes.
Then find a helmet.
Roger that, pilot. And Kimu goes and looks around the launch bay to see if he can find a helmet. And then finds one, scurries up the ladder, and jumps into the gunner's seat.
We're gonna have to wait, though.
Yes, ma'am.
But keep it ready. Once we break stealth, we can take her out. She's gonna run her fingers down the sleek metal when she's exiting and just be like, yeah, soon.
I don't know if they'll take us out of stealth if we launch fighters.
It will.
Right, Reese, give us that second sensor roll, please. It's, Reese is fairly certain that's a piece of battleship. Not the one marked on your maps, but still a piece of battleship.
With active power cores?
No. But a big enough chunk that there are some inactive power cores in there that are still big enough to read on the sensors.
And important enough that they want to keep us from it.
We are very interested now.
Reese?
Yes.
Is there anything showing on sensors that we can hide behind when we launch the fighter so we don't show up on their sensors?
That's a good question. Do we have anything in the area?
Well, it looks like there's a clump of small asteroids. But whether or not that'll mask you launching fighter, you're uncertain. You don't know what kind of energy profile those fighters give off once they go active.
Let's give ourselves some leeway, shall we?
Options? What do group say?
I say we follow the plan and just take the Elbing slow and steady towards whatever is in front of there.
How close and when is we close enough?
Keep an eye on the other ships. Maybe we'll get out of range for their sensors soon. If we're perfectly out of them, then we can break stealth.
Okay. This feels like let's approach and board more than anything.
The stag.
Suzanne, can Census pick up any other craft around the smash that we're heading toward?
I will need Reese to broaden the sensor scope.
Can do. All over the place.
About 4 light hours out, heading towards the area you're in now, you pick up the beacon of a freighter.
In
Would it be the same mine layer?
Excuse me, you both talked at the same time. Reese, then Sistag.
Could it be the same mine layer?
No, this is definitely, this one is broadcasting that it is indeed a Vescarium ore freighter.
Ooh.
Something belonging to your people, Sistag. Do we think the pirates might pull out and follow it? Maybe try and intercept?
I'd be wondering why there's a Vest ship in this area.
Well, it's an ore carrier. It's probably just part of a normal trade route.
Out here in the fringe?
It's odd, but
Isn't this Uncharted type?
It is very far out in the French. It is definitely uncharted.
Let's just say back in my freelance days, I would not expect to meet them here.
they could have been seized, possibly heading for a base up nearby.
There's nothing nearby.
That's all I can think about at the moment. They're definitely heading for
How
some-
far out? I'm sorry. How far out is this ore carrier?
5 light hours at the moment, so it would take at its current speed, it would take 5 hours to move in.
So at this distance, we couldn't tell any type of markings on it or anything.
It's from what you can see and your own experience as in the Vescarium, that is an honest to God real Vescarium long range ore collector.
Any house colors?
Yes, but not any that you immediately recognize. Probably one of the lesser houses that you wouldn't know from a military career. Shall we take ourselves a bio and coffee break for those who need it?
A delightful idea.
Yes, indeed. Right. So, at the course you're on now, you should be able to reach the drifting debris without, if nothing goes wrong, being spotted by the assumed to be pirates.
That ore collector, is that on a collision course with us, or it's going on a different way?
Oh, it's definitely going to be heading into the minefield.
Question for those on the scanners. We scanned previously the smaller vessel and the mine layer, and if I remember correctly, we didn't pick up any life forms. Is there anything different from the Vescarian freighter?
We're a little bit too long distance away to pick up something life form or otherwise.
But
I
if it's
can
a
try.
But if it's a Wesk, it's gonna be full of Wesk. They don't do. they don't do automatic ships. And we should definitely warn them about the minefield.
That's what I was thinking about dropping a communications on them with hopefully not giving a position away to the people we're trying to avoid.
I'll rather give our position away and warn them than have them go into the minefield.
Oh, I fully agree. It's Vesk, of course. Even though I'm dishonored, I'm still a Vesk.
Susanna, can we do a tight beam message to that ship?
Well, Reese, that depends on whether or not they have tight beam capability themselves, but you could certainly try.
Do you want to dictate the message, Sistag?
I'll do it actually in Vesk. We haven't seen the name of the vessel, correct?
It is tagged on the transponder with a Vesk name that basically translates to something like Iron Hauler 24.
Okay, I'll on the narrow band invest. I'll tell them. I'll send a warning. I won't give my name because they may not believe me because I may be dishonored, and I don't know if it's gotten that far. Well, never mind. I got to take the chance. It's still Vesk. I'll let them know it's Lance Corporal Sistag. You are heading in toward a minefield. I'll give them the coordinates with the minefield, where its circumference is, and hopefully they can avoid it.
Right, and I'm gonna need a computer's roll from Reese to see if he can keep that beam tight enough. Yes, he can. You don't get any answer from them, but you can see them breaking off and going full burn in the opposite direction.
Thank you, Reese.
Welcome. People, friends, must take care of.
Astrid has taken her place at the co-pilot helm and sitting there looking way too relaxed.
Would you like to take her back, Pastor Beth?
Just keep her. I hope to get out with the fighter soon.
Very well.
Kimu snuck into the... and he's just lounging in the captain's seat.
It may not recognize you as the captain.
It's not supposed to. Reese is at the sensor station. I'm just sitting here.
Right. Takes you another 10 hours of a slow drift, but you reach. It's part of a battleship. Obviously, it looks like part of a midsection, roughly twice the size of your own ship. Not an ancient Terran class, that's for certain, but a more modern one. But there are still power sources dormant inside the ship.
No life signs?
Give us a computer's roll, Mr. Reese.
Not bad.
There is one very slight dormant life sign.
Only one. And we're being waved off by mines. This is interesting.
Is there any way to enhance your scan or incorporate information that might pick up on, existence, for example, of Species such as my own? We've fallen foul of that once before already.
It's hard to detect android and differentiate between machinery to machinery.
I shall choose
I
to
would
take
have
that as a
to-
compliment.
Yes, I would have to isolate the power core signature of each android species, and you know the variation of that.
True enough. I'll have to take the risk. I'm still puzzled somewhat by the fact that we got no life form readings from those other vessels when we were close to them.
The only thing I can think of is take numerous readings and compare power core locations from each reading, see if it moves.
Ah,
Wouldn't it be quicker to just go and see?
Absolutely.
oh, in that case, allow me. I'll spend a few moments working on a device that may assist us in that regard.
Do you want me to do spacewalk toward it or what?
How close can we get?
Good question.
Is there any transponder code on this battleship with a possible name and race?
You're pretty certain there was at some point, but at the moment you can't really find it.
And we must just assume that it's really valuable.
Boarding is option one, I think.
I agree.
It would be a dangerous spacewalk for sure, but who knows?
How close can we get?
You can get close enough that Sistad can basically jump from, or walk out and jump from behind and over to, or from your cargo bay and over to that thing in one big jump.
You up for it?
I'll go get my suit on.
Reese, you want to join him?
Yes. Scourge, yes, of course.
Then I'll take the helm.
I'll take science.
Bringing toolkit. Scrounge. Time.
See what you can find, Reese. And
I'm strapping the longsword to my side since I don't think weapons will be good in this area right now. Other than melee weapon.
Right. There's a lot of small debris and cabling around in the my brain is not working. Let's see. You don't
The wreck.
airlock?
in the ship you're jumping over to. Is perception not a skill anymore? Yes, it is. So, but perception or not, I would like an engineering roll from Reese and from Sistag.
1 second. Just had to take off and put on the mining jack.
Yes.
20 for me.
25.
Right. And jumping over, you can see that there's a lot to be had from the area here. Just in the, it seems like there's been some weapons on this part of the battleship, but also a lot of storage, which is not necessarily damaged yet. There's also several data nodes that you believe you could mine.
Well, I believe we have comms with the Eberlin, right?
Yes, you have helmet comms constantly, more or less, as long as you're within range of the ship.
Okay, I want them to direct me to the faint life sign.
Right, you're going straight for that. Will Reese do the same, or?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We will accompany each other at the moment unless I find something that is more important. But life sign, yes. Possible
Shiny.
enemy. Well, nav maps, which are better, I guess.
Even some of the data nodes are good too.
Quite possible.
It's a grim piece of work. There, as you get the first bulkhead door open and enter the ship, there are several bodies floating in zero G in various states of disrepair. Most seem to have died very quickly from decompression and loss of atmosphere, but a lot of them have also been shredded by what the heck is the word for it? When you hit a tank and you don't break the armor, but you get flakes of armor inside bouncing around.
Shrapnel.
Spalling.
Spalling, thank you. Shrapnel from spalling. Moving up, you come into a room where at one point there have been maybe 100 stasis pods. The room itself is the visibility is difficult because you have to keep brushing freeze-dried blood off of your helmet visors. Most of the people that have been in the pods, and you can see everything from Vesk, Isoki, lots of humans have been shredded by spalling, but there is one life pod with a light blinking very weak yellow. A stasis pod. The glass is frosted over, and the pod just says guest pod number 14.
Relay it back to the ship. So let me see if I can remove this pod.
One moment. I'm going to look at something first, and then yes. Medicine check on the inhabitants. Will the person survive us disconnecting it and transporting?
Give us a roll, sir.
This is an untrained, but I am a specialist jack of all trades, so this is actually a 4 higher than it's going to be. So 19.
You're not sure, but you think so.
I mean, I have a fairly decent medicine check myself.
You're a bit uncertain what some of these numbers mean, but every sign seems to be stable.
Oh, if we agree, disconnect, move.
Are there any specific symbols or information which may give a clue as to the origin or of what you're looking at?
I provide helmet camera.
Is there anything which might be in my data banks to help me recognize what this may have been,
You
or
can give me
the
a
era?
DC 20 medicine check, good sir.
All right. Rolling easy check.
That's a semi-armored stasis pod of the type often used by Alliance prison ships.
Be advised, the pod seems to be semi-armored and historically used in Alliance prison ships. You may have a guard, you may have a prisoner. Unclear at this point.
Prison ship?
Oh boy.
Well, most coming from the Vest, even Vest has come on, Tony, think. Brigs to put people in.
Are the other pods the same?
No. There are a
Agreed.
couple more, maybe 15 out of the 100, but they've all been shredded.
Most likely a prisoner then.
Yes. be very careful.
or someone high ranking.
Sistag, would you say the weapon fire here boarding action, ship weapon?
What do I roll, Shago?
Oh, I would want you to give me a. Oh, that's a good question, actually. In this case, just give me an engineering roll from what you saw on the way in. You don't see any signs of boarding action in the section you're in.
So this looks like it was all done from being hit by possible external.
Interesting.
Is there anything we can use for energy on the Elbing there?
We'll investigate.
Should be quite a few things. I assume you plan on moving the life pod before you do anything else?
Yes.
Right. So that takes you a good half hour. Quick refuel of oxygen. And jumping back, you see there are at least 4 data nodes that can be mined for information. And the Elbing can probably, given enough time, break down most of this hull to use as energy.
Any weapon systems or weapons on here that we could use?
Some of the data nodes have been tied to weapon systems. What you could get from them is hard to say, but would probably be valuable as you have the opportunity of manufacturing things on the Elbing itself. Kimu.
Can we tie into the data nodes remotely, or do we have to go on site?
You'll have to be on site.
And I don't think our suits are capable of doing that.
Well, it's a pretty simple job to tie into the data nodes and do the downloads, but you won't know what you have from them until you're back on the Elbing and can unscramble it.
Okay.
Well, I proceed with hooking in and downloading.
Right.
I'll do the same.
Meanwhile, on the Elbing, a small light flashes red on the bridge. Now, familiar sentence from Susanna goes, unknown ship detected.
Where?
What now?
Something has dropped out of drift, close to the mine layer. And it's big enough that the mine layer itself is actually moving towards one of the hangar base of it.
We have a problem, people. Get him back on board.
It is humongous.
Are we still cloaked, Susanna?
I do believe we are still cloaked.
We'll just sit here and be very, very quiet. At least until the others are on board.
Agreed. Astrid, can we prepare a stealth course out of here to avoid that damn thing?
Starting to plot one.
As you're working on downloading, something triggers in the hull of the ship, and a female human of, well, some age, you assume, 60s, dressed in the uniform of a battleship captain, appears in your visors. Attention to whomever it may concern. This is Captain Leah Reed of the battleship Liquidator. We have been exploring Sector for pirate activity for the last 38 days. We are about to engage a ship roughly twice the size of the Liquidator itself, with escorting fleets. I believe this is due to a prisoner we captured recently, a human, but not entirely, not anymore. The human seems to have been infected with some sort of hive genetic disorder. In short, this, what we thought was a human, now seems to belong to the hive. We captured this individual when boarding a freighter where we found no life signs on our scanners. Be advised that these hive-human hybrids do not show up on standard life science scanners. You will have to modify scanners using the following sequence, and something downloads into your helmet HUDs. We do not expect to survive this encounter. Anybody who finds this log need to bring it to Absalom Station as soon as possible to advise the Inner Sphere systems and the Vescarium that the hive once again is on the move in the fringes. Remember us not for our failure to return home, but for our bravery in facing down an enemy we cannot possibly overcome. Captain Leah Reed out. And the file downloads itself into your HUDs.
I take it everyone heard this through the ship since it's piped through our helmet.
Did we hear it as well?
Yes, everybody got it.
Okay, get out of there as quickly and quietly as possible. And Arndt, can you check this thing we brought on board if it's part of the hive?
Now that Susanna has the blueprints, the estimated amount of life signs on the large ship jumps up to 274,000. That ship, by the way, is changing direction and heading towards you.
Get on board! Get on board now!
Moving.
Same here.
And quarantine that pod.
Indeed. Precautions are being taken. I've rechecked and recalibrated and recalculated the number of, living organisms on that other ship, and, by my nearest estimation, it's an absolute ton.
Yes, I thought the same thing.
But is the thing we carry on board one of them?
What does the readout tell me?
The readout tells you that it is indeed not.
Doesn't appear to be exhibiting those signs compared to the latest recalibrations we've done.
Perfect. Let me know the moment they are on board. We're gonna need to... What's it called? Haul tail out of here?
Ass, I believe. Haul ass.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Unknown ship has launched missiles. Estimate 12 light minutes until they reach us.
Oh, hell. Kima's going to jump over to the gunnery console.
Right. Give
Are
us
you far away?
Give me an engineering, Reese and Sistag. Right. Reese is going hellbent for leather. Sistag gets tangled up in some wiring as to... He's a big, strong Wesk, but luckily Reese is there to cut him loose very quickly. You spend no more than 3 minutes getting back onto the ship, leaving around 9 minutes to act. You might, let's see, Kimu, give us a, what's it called? computers check for the sensors.
God damn.
Kimi can't be certain, but he thinks there's somewhere between 12 and 1,500 missiles heading towards you.
We're just gonna have to try to get out of here as quickly as possible. You're inside?
Are we, Shoggy?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes.
Get
Wait,
up here.
I rolled a 29 to plot a course out of here, and I'm now gonna fly it as quickly as possible.
Well, with a 29, you're fairly certain that the only chance you have of actually escaping those missiles that are now 7 minutes away from you is the fact that it only takes 6 minutes to warm up the rift jump.
We're gonna have to go to Rift, people. We haven't tested it yet, but we're gonna have to try. Make it happen.
Could I launch a nuke behind us to destroy the missiles coming in?
You get some of them, maybe as much as 200 or 300, but
We shouldn't waste missiles on it.
All
We're
right.
either gonna die.
And the closing
Spectacularly,
weapon
or-
systems will not be take out that many neither.
no, if you had a ship their size, which is what that volley is designed to destroy, maybe. But that's still a maybe, unless you had a ship that was a huge ship made to actually withstand the huge missile volleys.
All right, I'm heading up to the bridge. I mean, I'm not even taking off my suit. I'm heading right up to the bridge.
I'm going to target the missiles anyway, just in case.
Clumping down to engineering. Basically making sure that everything is actually warming up as it should.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the universe kind of goes ploink. And tastes like pear for a moment as you pop out of reality and into the drift. You're not entirely certain where the hell you're going to end up, but you'll be there in roughly 36 hours.
Okay.
Well, wherever we're going, we're not being chased by missiles. It's something.
Yeah. So, what did we pick up? And what the hell are we doing now? We should definitely get back to Absalom with that information.
Yes.
Might I kindly request, Stag and Reese, if you could remain in the quarantine area of the bridge for the time being, just until I've finished running a fresh set of medical scans. And he gestures to the left-hand side of the bridge, where he's basically quickly put together, with the help of the fabricator, a quarantine sort of sectioning off the bridge in half. But it's all basically made of cardboard. Like quarantine written on it in crayon. I'm sorry, I had to improvise. There were not a lot of materials available. I didn't want to spend unnecessary energy. But quarantine
It's a
rules
good
are
idea.
quarantine rules.
Of course.
Make sure we fly the yellow flag.
Shouldn't it be made out of some petrochemical material?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the whole ship is in quarantine right now until we can make sure that we haven't brought anything on board. And we are in the drift for 36 hours, so yeah, we have time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Let me refer instead of yellow, it's the Quebec flag. Not yellow, Quebec.
But wait, if the whole ship's in quarantine, then this entire quarantined area of the bridge was a waste of... Oh, never mind. And he just rips down the cardboard. And he says, and you could keep these for next time. And he throws down a couple of devices that he had the fabricator produce for your spacewalk, but you'd already left before he was ready. When you look down at them, one of them looks like a little scanning device with a little screen on it, green with some lines, like a proximity sensor, and it just keeps going boop, 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 like the scanners from the Alien movies. But strangely, the blip on the screen never moves other than in relation to proximity of yourself as you hold it, because it constantly points to the xenomorph cat. And the other device that was thrown down looks like a Ghostbusters PKE meter for detecting Slimer ghosts.
Keep them
Yes.
in med bay, and maybe they'll come in handy next time.
And the cat really seems to like your cardboard fort.
It's true.
Yeah.
So we
The
got
cat-
some use out of it.
The cat is looking at the cardboard fort, and it seems very skeptical of the life pod inside it. But it's moving in some distinctly strange hunting patterns, not very cat-like. Takes a little while before Esterbeth realizes that it's moving in the way that a fighter would move if it was trying to get a good line of shot at a bigger ship. At some point, the cat seems to have picked up some small craft tactical doctrines.
You know, some of the information you gave it has rubbed off. That's some excellent flying.
If it worked on the cat, I want to be next.
Duly noted.
Reese, sitting in the mess with a large portion of rum-soaked aged cheddar, has checked out the blueprints that you found. You managed to pull 3 different blueprints out of that ship before pissing off. There was a 4th one, but you didn't take the time to try to pull it.
We had a whole more minute.
But these are the things you found. The Macer, which is a heavy direct fire energy weapon based on microwaves instead of lasers, which is why it's called a Macer. Something called a heightened magic torpedo launcher. And a digital raid node, which Reese recognizes as a sort of ECM, or electronic countermeasure, if you will.
Names again?
I put them in chat, sir.
All right.
Sistag.
Is that between both of us downloading?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you managed to get those 3 in. There was a 4th one, but you couldn't quite get it before you decided to to piss off.
I have to wonder if those missiles were aimed for us or aimed for the Hulk.
Well, you can be certain that it would have turned everything in that general their grid coordinates area to dust.
Including us.
Yep, we could have given it another minute,
So-
but we wouldn't have
So
got out.
those ships were hive ships, not pirate ships.
We can assume so.
And
Well,
they're laying mines around this Hulk.
I don't like the way your thoughts going, Sistag, but
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kimu. That's the military in me.
It's fine, my friend. I was trying to avoid that thought, to be honest.
Always have to think of the worst case scenario.
It's better to prepare for the worst and be surprised otherwise.
Agreed. That's what my mother used to teach me.
You didn't learn well then.
He's still young.
That is true.
I'm getting there.
Astrobet is pacing between the two helm stations, to having just slung her jacket over the captain's chair and is looking at stuff she knows she can't do anything about. We're in the drift. It's 36 hours, and that's it.
So I'm not. So the drift is what is controlling our destination right now.
Had I had more time, I would have definitely made a course through the drift and made a plan for the jump. But it was either jumping or be disintegrated. So,
Yep. No, you did good, Astrobeth. I was going to tell you to cut my line and go. I was getting ready to die for the ship. I was too tangled.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we didn't have to do that. You're the only one that knows all about her weapons anyway.
Fortune not. Reese happened.
Thank you, Reese.
Yeah. Thanks, Reese.
Reese, see if how much it would be to put these into our solid ports for weapons. If we can make systems for them, or are we going to have to do some type of adjustment since this is a ancient ship, I guess?
Susanna, please read these blueprints and ascertain if manufacturing capability exists for
hard points.
For hard points, yeah.
It takes a while before Susanna gets back to you. Yes, all of these things could be installed in the ship if we had the requisite energy surplus for manufacturing the parts.
Excellent. So we need more energy. Let's see where we pop out.
Well, I guess during this time, we may as well set up our mine layer rack that we have into one of our aft hard points.
Susanna, question. The digital raid node, is that actually what I think it is, meant for ship-to-ship scans?
That is correct, Reese.
Interesting.
Those can be good to have.
And I presume the macer is a personal weapon?
The macer is a heavy ship weapon.
It is. Okay.
That would have to go into one of your 4 heavy hard points. Either the turret, one of the port sides, or in the forecastle.
Right now, the missiles are in the turret, correct?
That's correct.
I would rather keep the missiles in the turret, so we'll have 360 on the missiles if need be, and maybe use one of the forward hard ports for the macer. Forward hard points.
We do have the option of making more than one macer eventually.
Port and starboard side.
Makes sense.
She's.
Sistag is shaking his head, by the way, looking at all the stuff and looking at the ship and just kind of going like,
How is our guest settling in his pod?
She seems stable enough. Curious, though. It appears that we have acquired our ready meal contains a drow female. Looks to have...
drow female?
Indeed. Looks to be, from the attire, from a noble family. Also looks like somebody that also has seen a significant amount of battle.
Let's try to avoid waking her, just keep her in stasis for now. But what about our captain friend? Is he gonna wake up soon?
It doesn't appear to be significant change. Certainly there's no sign of any insect infestations or the such. I've run scans on all of you. You're all fine. Kime, I think you need a little bit more sleep. Sishtag, just ease off ever so slightly on the red meat. Elevated levels of wind detected within your systems. Is there any other information with regards to, I believe it's Captain Hill?
Captain Hill should be up within the next 6 hours or so from the medically induced coma.
Astrobeth, I'm going to head to my stateroom. I been doing a lot. I'm probably almost dead on my feet. Shrug.
Yes, indeed.
Go to bed, all of you. Actually, it's getting late, and we have had a hell of a day. There's nothing we can do right now. We're in the drift.
Can anything hit us in the drift?
If it does, we're done.
Captain
we
Hill
won't have time to notice it anyway.
Captain Hill will exit his medically induced coma state in approximately 6 hours from now. I will ensure that my schedule involves being awake and ready to receive him.
I suggest we meet for breakfast in about 6 hours.
Sounds good.
And that sounds like an excellent drop-off point for today.